Yes, people, welcome to Never a Foul. Sorry if I sound a little bit tired. I'm absolutely murked, but is what it is. But I'm joined by CB, Jay, and Mons might be here, to be fair. He got more sleep than me, and yet he's still sleeping. But Roms will be here in about 10 minutes, and we're joined by a new person called Dan. He's a Chelsea fan, lads. They're just spawning from everywhere now, aren't they? But yeah, we're going to be talking about McAllister as well, the kind of signing that he is and what he's done for Liverpool as a signing, as a midfielder. Some might say even signing of the season. But yeah, then there's Isak to Arsenal. I don't know that Edward Hainer or something like that. Is that credible? More rumours surrounding Isak to Arsenal, especially if Newcastle need to sell. Why would Isak want to stay at Newcastle from dusty side? And then obviously we got Spurs versus West Ham later. Postecoglou comments. Do they fumble? Do they not? And we can always surround about that. But we're saying
all good.
Yeah. Where's the enthusiasm? What are they saying?
All good.
Jay,
I didn't know how it works. I thought we'd go around in circles, everyone saying how they felt. But yeah, I'm great. Glad to be here.
There's an element of organization to it, and then it just all gets thrown in the bin, and we just kind of so we're trying to give the vision that the show is well structured and planned. Kaz, that's what we're trying to do.
That's what you want. That's what you want. This is typically chaos. Nah, Jay, you was getting. If people didn't know, Jay was getting excited by Postecoglou's comments about the challenge next
yeah, bro, I heard that. I said,
I was getting excited. So if people haven't seen the comments, I think Postecoglou. I haven't actually written the article. I just it could be clickbait. This could be fake news that I'm spreading on the channel. But apparently Postecoglou says that he expects Tottenham to be in a title challenge next season, which is good news for the fans. You know, that the fans. That's the sort of thing that you want to hear as a fan. Obviously some people will be like, is he not building a rod for his own back? Is he not raising the level of expectation? And I'll be like, good.
Jay, if you don't get into a title race, can't do that yet. Safe though. If you don't get into a title race next season, I expect him to be sacked.
I mean, the thing is that
that's by his comments, and you're getting giddy, and you're like part of that spam. I'm gonna by his comments. If he doesn't, if he doesn't even get into a title race, as he said, he should be sacked. That's the pressure.
I think the thing is that obviously you look at continuous progress.
That's a joke.
No, he's being serious.
No. Wait. Hold on. Before we dive into other subjects, etc. Yeah, think about it. CB, they want to play big boys now, and they want to talk about title challenging. If he wants to keep talking about Man United are 8 points behind, but we're about 8 points behind City. Why are you not talking about that? Title race and all that. If he's not in the title race, not big and not proving it himself, he needs to be sacked. If he's
but with all due respect, Kaz, the comments about the 8 points were fair because they said to him, "Are you worried about United?" And then you said, "Okay, well, is City worried about us?" Because we're the same points behind City as United are behind us. So why should we be worried about them if they're not worried about us? Which I think is a logical, good response to that question, really.
Don't bottle it.
You guys. Bro, listen, Brentford was the worst performance I've seen since the last time you played an away game. So, I'm not scared about bottling it to you guys.
Well, literally, in terms of competing for the title, it should be sacked. Bear in mind, the last 7 years, only 2 gaffers have actually won the league. Then we're talking about Spurs here. Let's actually be serious, isn't it? That's what happened. And just got to say what the fans want them to hear. You know what I'm saying?
But CB, let's be fair. The last time you won the league,
it was 7 years ago.
It was Tottenham that you finished above, and you haven't won the league since then. You've not been there. So
neither of Tottenham, though.
Neither of Tottenham, but both Chelsea and Spurs. That was the peak of their league finishing positions over the last 7 years.
First and third.
First and second. We were second to Chelsea.
All right. The only thing, with Spurs is that your title challenge is literally the only best it's ever going to get is second, isn't it? And when you were in a 3-horse race. You finish or 2-horse race.
Yeah, fair enough. But now that you guys haven't got a Russian financially doping the club, and you have to run
you got
yourself,
an American doing it.
Yeah, no, well, you've got
spending the money. You can't argue that.
You've got to be okay. You're spending the money badly, but you're spending it, and now you're being judged by the same metrics that everybody else is, and you're about to do back-to-back worst campaigns of a top 6 side of the last 20 years. So you can critique Tottenham all you want, but we're fighting at the level. We have half the budget of City. So now that you're operating under a level playing field as to all the other sides, you're disgracing yourself out here. So fair is fair, because you're embarrassing Chelsea Football Club and the brand that you built under Roman with your performances over the last 2 years. At the same level that everybody else is.
Well, I don't even get me started on Chelsea. Actually, we can even dive a little bit into Chelsea before Ramsden arrives, right? And Tottenham, to be fair, because we want to talk about your game, because that's the most thing I'm actually interested in that. Yeah.
West Ham away tonight.
So people understand what kind of Chelsea fan you are. What's your thoughts on Chelsea in brief?
Yeah. Your last point you made, Jay, about us embarrassing the club and everything that we built up in like the last 20 years is spot on. I can't disagree with that. So that's where I'm at. I feel like it's a massive disappointment what we've seen in the Todd Boehly ownership. I've pretty much lost any patience I had with it. I've got no belief left in the manager. And the statement today that's coming out of Forbes, what Todd Boehly said is that we've got these unbelievable players. It's all over Twitter. I don't know what evidence he has to believe or find in these players that they're unbelievable performers on a football pitch, because I've not seen that. Half of them we signed without even enough minutes to suggest what their average ability might be.
Dan, can I ask you a quick question in terms of like the player profiling as well? Because I saw Angelo in pre-season and I really liked him. I thought this guy looks ready. I thought this guy looks like he could play and add value to the team. But you also bought Hutchinson, Madueke, you've got Kennedy, Mudryk, Noni, still being linked to other wingers now. Like, do you think it's kind of like the club struggles to say no because these youngsters are quite reasonably priced and they just kind of get a bit excited? Do you think it's poor? Do you think it's poor strategy? Do you think it's poor scouting? What bit of everything? What do you think the issue is?
I'll be honest. I think if you look at what those players were doing before they joined Chelsea, all of them have a reason that they could have been signed on. I think actually, if you look at the players we've loaned out, Angelo's been okay in Ligue 1, but he hasn't been setting the world alight, really. He's been mediocre. You wouldn't be signing a player from a bottom half Ligue 1 side with the stats that Angelo has. So a loan doesn't seem like the worst thing, because I don't think he'd be really producing in the Chelsea side right now or doing anything more than what some of our wingers are doing. Arguably, the best loan sort of we made this season was to loan out Amari. He's been fantastic at Ipswich. And actually, when you look at what we paid for him, if Ipswich want to buy him and if they do get promoted, we're already going to make 10 times what we paid for him. So they're all just business assets. And we're buying these players on the cheap. They're exciting, and exciting players are the ones that raise funds. So I can see what they're doing. On a footballing perspective, I just don't think it's working. And where Chelsea are the ones who should be driving up the price of most of their most important assets, we're actually failing. And a team like Ipswich are probably making big improvements for us. But it's a tough one with the wingers. I feel like they didn't really have a limit of how many they wanted to bring in. I don't think they understood what type of player was needed in the squad, because they had no idea what squad they were going to have, because they were getting rid of everyone. So, I think it's been completely mismanaged and misprofiled. And I think they looked at who they could make money off early doors, and they probably went for exciting young players.
And let's keep it a buck. Poch is just shit.
No, cannot disagree with that.
Shit. Anyways, but look, make sure you smash the like button, people, as well. If you haven't done so, just double check for us. It would obviously massively appreciate anyone that has done so at the moment. Appreciate yourself, but come on, man, like. When I say 100 people, sometimes I expect it must be at least 50 likes in there somewhere. These lot just can't be bothered. But it always helps algorithms, it helps videos and so forth. But I'm gonna dive into the Isak thing quickly, as well, because I'm not gonna talk about McAllister, and we can talk about. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be loads of saying, what about Declan Rice? But we'll talk about that too. Alexander Isak to Arsenal. Actually, he's been linked with you as well, Tottenham. What are you boys thinking about that? Because I'm saying that's not allowed to happen.
I'm not really into it.
I'm starting to believe it more and more because they've done this with Tony, and all of a sudden they're all interested in Tony and they're all in for him. Now that apparently it's like it's all gone dead, right? Then there's things surrounding Newcastle about they needing to sell and needing to make some sort of revenues. Isaac's meant to be a top striker. Why are you staying in and around the side? That's, you know, it's hot and cold with a manager that's probably hot and cold. Granted, they've had injuries, but I think Isak might be at an age where he'd be fancying an Arsenal. If Arsenal come calling, that's going to turn his head. I think he's an Arsenal fan as well, if I'm pretty sure. You know what I mean? Have you heard him? That man's from Croydon. So, anyways, but yeah, CB, what you said about Isak to Arsenal? Because I think that would literally complete their front three, in my opinion. The way they want to play on the front foot.
If fully fit in it, yeah, definitely. But that's something you need to take into account is Ivan Toney's injury issues, isn't it? He's not somebody, not Ivan Toney, sorry, excuse me. Alexander Isak's injury issues, isn't it? It's something that has been a prominent issue prior to even him joining Newcastle. This season, he's been in and out of the side. Of course, when he's playing, he's firing. But we've seen with Arsenal before, same with Gabriel Jesus, when he was playing, he was firing, but the injuries started to creep up. Same with Partey in midfield. Same with you look at the centre-back situation. Fair enough, Saliba's fit this season. They've had Timber fall down. They had Tomiyasu falling down in the past. So it just falls in with the theme, innit? It doesn't scare me. Of course, fully fit, that is a crazy front three, but it's the same old story with them and their recruitment.
Well, I think their recruitment's been quite good, no?
But it's injuries, though. Partey was one of the best midfield signings for them. He's injury prone. Obviously, he's got a situation going on there that we can't talk about. He's got Gabriel Jesus, one of the best forwards they signed. He's injury prone. Obviously, they brought in Timber. He's been injured. Saliba fell down last season when it was crunch time. Tomiyasu's in and out of the side. So,
well, I could tell you his injuries if you want. But then, would you say this is credible? Would you say Arsenal will be interested in him? Like injuries, they've got to be interested in him because I think arguably, yeah, exactly right. And actually, when he's proven himself in the Premier, he looks unbelievable. But you can't disagree with what CB says. Injury record is appalling, and the last thing any top team needs is it's to be signing a player that his injury record isn't great. To be honest with you, but obviously, if he could fix those issues, you've got probably one of the best strikers in the world. He's still at such a good age. He's got years to develop. He obviously has the sort of profile and similar sort of style to what Henry had, and Arsenal fans will be obsessed with that, I'm sure. He's obviously not quite a touch on Henry, but you could see the similarities in the type of player that he is and what he once offered. I just feel like he would complete their front line. I think he's exactly what they need. He's a silky player. He's not. Arsenal aren't really renowned for having like sort of huge physical bullying centre forwards. They'd be renowned for someone that's silky and classy on the ball and a lethal finisher. Obviously, that's years ago now. We really haven't seen that in an Arsenal side, but that's why I think they like the likes of Kai Havertz and Jesus and the silky players, right? And I feel like he'd fit the bill, but my biggest concern would be injuries. But I don't see him staying at Newcastle, if I'm honest with you. I can't.
That's a club in decline.
Newcastle have already said Isak is untouchable. They said that about Dan Ashworth, and all of a sudden he's leaving. Everyone has their price. Everyone needs to get their money one up, like literally at some point. And I'm not being funny. Once the player pressures it, once it comes to top, like you know what it is with Newcastle. Like they need to realize you're not a big boy. Who are you to say that Newcastle have already said that they're going to be untouchable? Once a big team comes in for a player, their head's gone, mate.
Yeah,
I'm not being funny. You know, in Europe, I get them on a building block. Well, Isaac's 25 this year in September. Yeah. And it's not like Arsenal was some dusty team. They're up there in Europe right now, and they're up there in the Premier League competing for a title. And there's clearly one gap missing. And you think like, I could be playing with Saka. I could either be playing with Saka or could be playing with Almiron. Which one?
So my thing about Isak is for Spurs, for Arsenal, it makes a lot more sense than Spurs. Because for me, I would ask the question, is he a better 9 than Son? Debatable. You know, I don't think so personally, but I'm sure people cannot make the argument.
He's a better 9, maybe just not as a better. I think Son's finishing though is.
But they both play 9, and obviously his finishing is part of being a 9. So it depends on what you're looking for from your 9.
The movements are really good. It's just actually you could say even the way Son plays and Isak plays, they might be a little bit similar.
There's similar characteristics. Isak's got better link-up play. Son's better playing on the last man. So if like you play Son like you would play like a peak Vardy, do you know what I mean? Over the top, playing on the edge, things like Isak would be more involved in play. And I think for me, with the Spurs, I would say at this moment in time, just signing Isak win Tottenham the league. And if the answer is not yes, then I can't justify spending £100 million on the player. Do you see what I mean? Because we have bigger holes in the team to fix. So, we'll get there next summer, hopefully, where we're in a position to do a Declan Rice type thing. We're not like Chelsea. I can't be having £100 million piece players. What? That's just bad scouting. Why am I spending £100 million on a piece of the team? That £100 million should be the finishing touch. So, like with Isak, for the pricing cost, I can't co-sign it because we need a winger, we probably need a 6, we need like a left back, right back, backup, maybe another centre back. So, yeah, not for me, Isak, but excellent player. And if you can get him while Newcastle have financial issues, I'd pull the trigger.
Oh, apparently even Isak and Erdegaard are best friends. Oh, there you go. Been out the same age bracket in that. No, you need a striker as well. Chelsea, you lot need a striker.
Do you know what? I'd take him.
He reminds me of a little bit.
Dan,
Of a Chelsea
you see the situation that's going on in our squad. Like we've got 11, 12 injuries. Our medical team needs to be investigated as it is. Like we've brought in multiple players that are injury prone and it ain't worked out for us. So the last thing I need is another £100 million injury prone striker.
Can you imagine?
If I had it my way, I'd get Victor Gyökeres at Sporting. He's proven himself in the Championship. If you look at the Championship to Premier League pipeline from James Maddison to Vardy to Ollie Watkins, etc., you see that actually if you give a striker a chance that's done his thing in the Championship, he's got years in, comes to the Premier League, he adapts instantly. He's way better than a Serie A to Premier League type move for an attacker. So I'll be more open to that than doing an injury prone and it's a risk. And we're in January, you're complaining as a fan base. Yeah, that man will sign anyone horrible club. That's why I said no. We'll be in January complaining as a fan base. Oh, wait for Isak to come back. We'll cook when we're 9th in the league. I don't need that, man. I'm tired of this.
Yeah, you're right. There would be a bit of a mad one. And to be fair,
but then with Gyökeres, is it not then an indication of poor scouting that you could have got this player for 20 odd million pounds last summer?
But Jade, but to be fair, you could say that about any club. It's always a player that you're going to miss out on because you never.
But no, you're right. But my logic here, my only pushback logic here is that Chelsea have shown that they're very flexible in where they're buying players from. Yeah, they'll buy them from Eredivisie, they'll buy them, from Championship, they'll buy them off the back of 7 appearances and pay big money. It doesn't matter for Chelsea.
And the last one with Chelsea, it doesn't matter. They buy just to be salty, and say, all right, yeah, they don't care.
But in terms of the optics, Jay, in terms of the striker situation, going into last season, obviously we signed Nkunku, who generally I don't believe is a 9. He's more of a second striker, or do you know what I'm saying? You can link up with. So we had Nkunku coming in, and the optics, we knew already we needed a striker. Bear in mind at the time, the names that were getting floated around was the likes of Vlahovic, Osimhen, Sesko. You know what I'm saying? These attractive names are playing at these sexy clubs. And then even getting Jackson from Villarreal at the time for 30 odd million, everyone was like, hold on, who the fuck is he? He's linked to Bournemouth. Why are we doing this? That was the conversation at the time. So imagine the optics if we went and bought from Coventry and made him our leading striker. It would have been a mess.
No, I hear it. But I think the thing is that it's funny that the club is willing to do things that they don't care about the optics when they do them first, but then they start to be sensitized to the optics. I guess everything when things aren't going well, because people will be like, oh, but Jay, that's not a good argument. I'm saying, listen, what I'm saying is that if Chelsea were willing to buy Jackson, and make him a prominent member in the squad, Gyökeres should have been calm, because it's not like he went to Nottingham Forest and then he's like, oh, he went to Sporting Lisbon. Like he went to a good side where you're going to pay a premium when he finishes his finishing school there. And that's just my point. As in, that's what I expect from intelligent clubs with good scouting. That's why we're paying our scouts. That's why we're paying our data analysts. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I see Gyökeres at Sporting Lisbon, it's already too late. We're already at 100 million.
It's not too late. You can't say it's too late if he's at Sporting Lisbon. Ronaldo
the release
came from
clause is
Lisbon,
crazy.
man.
Though,
It's not
No,
too late.
I'm saying I'm saying for me, it's too late at 100 million for Gyökeres.
Yeah, but it's not too late for Chelsea because Tottenham have to go and sign players like Sarr and nobodies that are coming out of random
Alright,
places that Ange
yeah.
knows, right? And then
Yeah.
and then they're scouted well, right? But they aren't players that people are really aware of. And
Yeah.
Ange has been able to get good, like has done well out of players that are not unknowns, but they're not quite on the level of being like aware of many people's attention, right? But then you've got players like a team like Chelsea. They don't care about going to sign the best young player at a World Cup for 100 million. They don't care about signing someone like Casado for 100 million. The money's not an issue for Chelsea. Obviously, they've shown that. They don't
now,
mind if people
now you're looking at FFP issues down the road. Should the money have been an issue? Should you have thought a little bit more? Should you have like measured twice, cut once, rather than cutting like a Edward Scissorhands on crack, like you guys have been doing? And that's the point, because you look at it and you say, well, okay, why did you buy Leslie then? Why did you buy Leslie and Andre, and you bought numerous players in position? Why? Just buy one of them, or put the money together and get a higher quality youngster.
I don't disagree with you on that. And I think in years gone by, that's what Chelsea would have done. But under Todd Boehly, I think it's about having as many assets as possible, probably 3 in each position that he would say is under 25 and has the potential to go on to be potentially world class. I think that's his idea in thinking, is that he'd have the top 3 talents in each position at this club, which is excessive, as we all know. You probably need 2 in each position that's at a really big level, and then a kid in as backup in the 3rd slot, if you like.
Yeah,
it's a mess. We can agree on the fact that buying players like Leslie and players of that standard that are probably never going to go on to be unbelievable players, because if you're good enough at 19, you're good enough. Look at Bellingham. Like you're good enough to be in the team, forcing your way in, holding on players that are 28.
Casadei,
look, they're talented players. You can't deny it. They've been talented.
£15 million was he? Also,
look, it doesn't matter about the price for Chelsea. It doesn't at all.
I think it does, because you're not operating in the same field that you were under Roman. I think the prices matter, and if you're now in a situation that you have to flip homegrown players before a deadline because you've overspent on players that aren't good enough to play for Chelsea, I would argue and push back and say the price does matter, and you've overpaid for assets, and now you put yourself in a situation that you've got to make hard decisions for the club.
I'll be honest with you. I think the limit of Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital and whoever has their input on Chelsea's squad at the moment is to remove everything that existed before them. And I think homegrown players that were there and have been brought up in with any inkling of what Chelsea is and is to remove them. And if they could, they'd remove the fans that are aware of what Chelsea was as well, because they're just buying the name. That's all they're bothered about, to be honest with you. They're buying the name and the marketing potential of Chelsea Football Club. They want everyone to forget what was achieved before, because, look, without getting into politics as well, but Americans aren't going to want to know anything about what a Russian's done. So it's very simple. They're not bothered about getting rid of a homegrown player, as much as a Chelsea fan might not want to see the likes of Conor Gallagher leave or other players. If Reece James, right, if it's clean profit, they'll happily move them on. And at the end of the day, they're bothered about making money. Like we said, like you can see in that Forbes article, he don't care. If people still turn up to the bridge, tourists, fans, whoever they are, as long as he's making money out of them, that's all he's bothered about. And unfortunately, that's when you know you've got a toxic owner of a football club, and the downfall is likely, because you can't run a club like that.
No, it's true. Did you want to say quickly something, CB, by the way?
Yeah, I was saying in terms of the under 25 model, the type of quality we've been playing. Like, I don't agree with the model. Anyway, I've been very, very vocal about not agreeing with the under 25 model. But it's even the type of under 25s we're going for. The likes of Enzo Fernandez going for 105 million when we had Bellingham there available for the same price. If it was serious about a serious club, we can still attract the best of the best young talents. We're just buying players for the sake of it. Uguchukwu, Andre Santos, Casadei, they're not world beaters. And what we're doing really and truly is slowing down their development. Leslie would have been better off going on loan or playing at Strasbourg, continuing at Rennes or wherever we signed him from, than sitting on the bench. We got David Washington for 20 million, and he's only got 7 appearances for the under 23 side in PL2. These guys is like Andre Santos went on a loan to Nottingham. He was touted up one of the best under 17s in the under 17s World Cup. He went on loan to Nottingham and couldn't get a minute out of it over there. Like, no loan has been working. Casadei, the Leicester fans wanted his head. They were calling for his head. They couldn't stand him. There's not one loan that's really worked out. You could say Amari, we got him on a free transfer. He's English, free transfer. That's pure profit. That's all they're looking at. You mentioned about the Reece James thing. If it gets to a point, I've been warning fans about this for months now. Reece James is going to get to a point where anyone has a price. The fact that we lost Mason Mount and our fans celebrated it at the time, I wasn't Mount's biggest fan in terms of his ability and what, you know what I'm saying? I do feel like he became a first name on a team sheet type of player, and I don't think he should have been that. But I definitely felt like he should have stayed because I already knew the precedent that had been set. The moment you've let the face of our academy and Cobham, his academy graduate, has achieved the greatest heights you could achieve at level, and you let him go, and not only let him go, you let him go to a rival. And the way that happened with the contract situations, anyone could get it. And our fans celebrated and enabled this mess. And now look, it's falling over to Gallagher and Reece James and who else now?
But they're the face of the previous ownership, though, CB. You've got to agree with that as well, that he's the face of the last Champions League win of the previous ownership.
Mm.
They just don't want a trace of it, man. They want it all gone.
If he was to do it like... Oh, sorry, Castro.
No, it's not going to land if you want.
I was going to say, if he was going to do a rebuild, yeah, the right way to do a rebuild is model it similar to what Real Madrid are doing. Real Madrid have brought in Camavinga, Tchouameni, Bellingham, but they still have the likes of Cruz, Modric, easing them into
CB, the thing, just to add to that, is that you had your moment to do that. You literally had a great brand, a great position. You could have done that. You could have gone around the world and cherry-picked the finest youngsters, the very, very best youngsters, yeah, and then brought them in. Looked at, okay, which youngsters have got a year left? Which youngsters are at clubs where they're having financial issues? Be really strategic about it and bring in the creme de la creme. Yeah, like look at Real Madrid. They bring in Alaba, Rudiger on free transfers, but then they also bring in the very best youngsters, like you mentioned. But they're not taking the piss with the fees. They're like, okay, we'll pay 30 million for Camavinga. We'll pay 60 million for Tchouameni. We ain't gonna pay 100 million. Like even Bellingham, the price that people were quoting Bellingham until Real Madrid came in and said, "All right, everybody, let's all calm down here. These fees are getting out of hand." And then they paid a reasonable price for Bellingham too. I agree with you 100%. I feel that Chelsea may have missed their window to do it the way you're talking about. And now they have to do it in a way where they need to let these youngsters and the players they bought develop and grow into something and try and maybe add one or two pieces and see how it evolves. I don't think the Chelsea squad is that far away, but this isn't how I would have done it.
Well, talking of that, guys, by the way, 300 people in the building, please smash the likes. It's a friendly reminder. Look, it's boring, isn't it? I understand. But I need to start running them again because I'm trying to have a good summer. So please smash the like button if you haven't done so yet. It literally takes you 2 seconds. It just helps us out. And also, these guys can get new subscribers and new people as well, barring yourselves. Which is in the description, and it will also be in the pin. We're going to talk about McAllister in a minute, but if we flip this back with Alexander Isak going to Arsenal, we talk about complete squads not being far off and whatnot. Does he complete that squad? Because I think Arsenal's got a good team, and I think they're probably they're going to sell a couple players. I think Fabio Vieira is going to go. Emil Smith-Rowe is going to go. So obviously they're going to make some money. You know, Cedric's leaving and stuff like that. Their squad is becoming this young.
I see the bench. Did you see the bench? Did you see the bench against City? I was like, damn, that's a good bench.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you deep it, like look at the ages of Gabriel and Saliba as a partnership. Look at Ben White, pretty much all the same age. Then you got Timber, still yet to come, and we'll see what he can do.
Kirill, Zinchenko,
you deep the age of like Erdegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Rice. It's all around the same age of 24, 25, 21, 22. You just add Alexander Isak into that. You're thinking, mate, they got a squad for the next 5 years to really develop.
Yeah.
And the thing is, title.
What about when they start swapping out Jorginho for like an Onana or something? Then they can start upgrading positions too.
By the way, Everton are in deep financial crap.
Oh, I saw that. Horrible finances.
It looks like they have to sell. Bring me Jared Banthwaite in it. But I'm saying this right. Like, this is not allowed to happen. Like, for future reference, Isak to Arsenal is not allowed to happen. Somehow, down the line, he's going to stay fit. Because I've got his, I brought up his, well, I did, to be fair. Here we go. Isak's had 2 groin injuries this year. Last season, which kept him out for a lot of the season. Well, third of the season, you could say 5 problems. 21, 22. To be fair, before then, he wasn't really totally injury prone. Had 1 hamstring injury, which kept him up for 4 games, and then a knee problem for a game. 18, 19, he was minor bits for Dortmund. You know, like he's like a bruise, pin bruise, which hurt. Ill. You know, a knee problem which kept him up for the longest. So he's not as injury prone as people think he is, you know. He's just had probably some moments which ain't been great. And to be fair, when you look at Newcastle and the way they play, and with all their injuries, are we really surprised?
No. Come on, that game the other day was a joke. Like, what do they have 4 players go off of injuries?
Newcastle have. He's not. Isak's not actually that mad. Like when it comes to, I think it's down to Eddie Howe's training program.
And Arsenal's injury record isn't too bad though, is it? Cass, to be fair, as well.
I think Arsenal have managed things very. The fact that Timber's back right now, and before and been training and is back to fit to the pace of it all, goes to show how far Arsenal's injury, like medical team, has gone compared to Man United, which is shocking. Compared to Chelsea, which is just as shocking. It needs investigating, mate. Someone needs to get.
I'm as a former supporter of the team managed by Poch. I know what Poch's methods aren't great either. From my experience of like in the first couple of years to play, like there's a lot of players in our team that had big injury issues. Ali had big injury issues for years afterwards. Wanyama wasn't injury prone at all when he came to Tottenham. And then we basically finished his career. People like Dembele.
Wanyama's levels went under Poch. It's
that
comes at a price though, man. If you want to
look at people like Eric Dyer, injury issues, muscle issues. Almost the majority of that squad, if they weren't a natural athlete, they had severe injury issues. And I look at Chelsea and I look at the players and I say, they had injuries before Poch. So I wanted to almost trace this back to that Eva woman. And since then, kind of thing. I'd be really intrigued to know what the injury record was since Eva. But even under Tuchel and stuff, Chelsea were getting a lot of injuries. And I remember looking at their injuries being like...
Chelsea's been known for injues for a minute, though.
Yeah, for a long time.
I'd
give it 10 years, that it's probably maybe about 8.
Hazard
injuries for a long time.
I remember even going back as far as... Drogba sometimes picking up mad injuries, but then he played through it. That's a different type of player, isn't it? Do you know
Chelsea
what I mean?
have always had a couple of players here and there that could never really stay fit, but I think we did really well at keeping the core fit for long periods of time. I think now the core's gone and there's no real stability throughout. You notice the injuries way more, but obviously now the numbers under Poch are adding up higher to than what they've ever been at Chelsea. That's the facts, right? Is that with Poch Dan, now?
One question I wanted to say to you is that if you look at in pre-season, and this is a great point about what Chelsea have done to the club. In pre-season, I was like, okay, who's going to be captain of Chelsea? And I was thinking, who's going to be captain? Because I looked at the squad and I was like, they've got nobody who's been here longer than 2 years. Yeah. So then I was like, apart from Reece. Yeah. So I was like, Reece. So okay, obviously Reece. Reece is quite injury prone. I was like, okay, I wonder who's vice captain. Said Chilwell. I said, bloody hell. He's also injury prone. Yeah. So I'm like, so I'm like, your captain and your vice captain are injury prone. So then I'm like Gallagher. Okay. So then I'm like, Thiago doesn't want the armband. So it's like there's nobody else in the squad apart from Gallagher who could take the armband. I looked at the squad and I said, you'd have to give it Sterling. And then I was like, the fans were like, no, we don't want to give it Sterling.
You can't give it to him, but
and before the season started, giving it to Conor Gallagher would have been like an outrage as well. Obviously, he ended up with it for the majority of the season because he's been the only durable player that's been.
He's the only one from Cobham, I mean.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And he knows the club, and I think Poch has made a point that he doesn't want to appoint people as captain if they're not like homegrown. He's kind of said that he wanted his captain.
Imagine this, Dan. My club in my squad, people didn't even want the armband. They ran away from it. ran away.
I think they may have done that at Chelsea, because the obvious answer for me and for pretty much every Chelsea fan was give it to Thiago Silva until he
It
leaves,
makes
and then
way
Reece
more
James would
sense.
take it.
Yeah,
But the problem is that for me, there's an issue, and there has been since day one with Pochettino and Thiago Silva, and now we're never going to see him play again. It's going to be this miserable fade out of him, because Poch has just been waiting for that kind of moment to happen. But look, we're not obviously we're not speaking about Chelsea. We're kind of talking about Arsenal and where they'll be. I genuinely think if they get Isak,
building, isn't it? They got a bunch of captains building.
Yeah, this is a team. If we look at
it's like Gabriel, Saliba, you can mention
their defense is a joke. Like the type of players, they're like mentality monsters. These physical, absolute.
Whoa, use that term loosely in here because you're going to upset a certain fan base. Sorry, Liverpool fans.
Oh, really? Liverpool? You can't compare Liverpool's defense
remember,
to Arsenal's.
mentality monsters is their title. We're not allowed to do that.
Oh, I see. Well, look, to be honest with you, I think Arsenal and the way they lost out last season is turn them into something special. I really do. And look, it might not be instant this season, but going forward, I feel like this is the team for the next five years at least.
That's what I said. They've got captains everywhere, man. You got Jorginho.
And they've done such a good job at that.
Yeah, Rice.
Remember the documentary? It said like they were trying to get like a whole squad of captains, and they've literally achieved it within 2-3 seasons. It was only a couple of years ago they spent all that money on players, and everyone questioned it, and they said like, "What is Edu doing?" And they aren't really buying the right type of players.
Yeah, of course,
they only spent about 140 million. Chelsea have done very similar, but spent about $1 billion. Right, so Arsenal had enough space to correct their mistakes within a season. They've done it. Everyone questioned. Everyone questioned what Arsenal were doing this summer as well. People questioned Havertz. People questioned, is Timber going to be able to step up? Look, obviously Timber had bad injuries, but looked like a quality player when fit. And Declan Rice has been absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, they've gone.
Your boy, you went in the back at Chelsea. Actually, was it Tuchel wanted him?
Yeah. As soon as Mason Mount left Chelsea, I knew that there was not a chance that Declan Rice would join. That was the thing for me. I think that kind of settled it. And as soon as that contract wasn't getting signed, you just knew Declan wasn't coming. For me, Dec had two options. I think it was United or it was Arsenal. I don't think it was City. I think that was too occupied in terms of
but there's one thing is the window, like the thing that Arsenal have done, and I really like what Arsenal have done because it's like a guide to any club that's trying to get to build a team that's going to compete at the top level. They've basically given everyone a guide of how to do it. And it's like, if you're going to spend big on a player, you got to be sure about them. And in order to be sure, you need a manager that's got a pronounced style of play so you can just drop these players in and you know what they're going to look like. At least, buy players from clubs that play somewhat similarly. So whether people liked Brighton or not, Potter played in a style of play that made Arsenal know if we bring Brent White in, he's going to be able to play in our system. A lot of clubs don't do that. They don't measure the team that you're coming from.
White come to Arsenal off the back of a season at Leeds?
No, Leeds, then Brighton.
Yeah, but did he? Oh, he played a season at Brighton.
He played a season at Brighton.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he had a season under Bielsa.
Either way, the education's good, right? It's
exactly.
Bielsa
he had
and
a season
Potter.
under Bielsa. He had a season under Potter, and then he comes to Arsenal. So they're like, okay, this guy's tactically aware.
As a centre back too. But the thing is, that's where you got to give Arteta credit with Ben White. And said, you know what, I think he'll be a really good right back because he's better as a wide centre back anyway. So he's good at defending them areas.
Because also then profiling Cass, he played in a back three, so they know that he can manage that.
And he straight away increased the height of his back line as well by moving him out to the right as well.
So
look, Arteta's a great coach, and him and Edu have absolutely developed one of the best sides and probably one of the most attractive sides to join because you can see where they're going and they're not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
This is what I say with Arsenal because this is why I'm going to move on to Liverpool because they've also got the difference with Liverpool is they've got killers in their team and they've got winners and they still got a young squad and that's not really spoken about. We know Liverpool to be quite old. We'll talk about it in a sec. When you think of Arsenal, what they're developing, in my opinion, you got Rice, Jorginho, Ødegaard. Ødegaard's the captain, different type of captain. Rice is Rice, and I think Rice has got great mentality and ability. Jorginho's a winner as well. And he's always he's been there, done that kind of thing, etc., etc. That kind of makes sense. And then you move on to Gabriel's. Saliba, I wouldn't say he's a mad leader just yet, but I think he sets an example for how young and good he is. bit like how Van Dijk, when he first came to Liverpool, obviously Van Dijk was a lot older. Then you think of Ben White, he hates Southgate, is what is, that's enough mentality for me. And then obviously you got little bits and bobs, and I think it is forming for them. If they get Isak as well, who's I think he's quite vocal, it just makes it a nice little rosy thing for them. But yeah, if we move on to Liverpool, we talk about signings, we talk about even the squad they're building. Look how young their midfield is as well. Curtis Jones, McAllister, and then obviously you got Szoboszlai. Then you got your Endo still. You got a bit of experience there that's been there, done that. Still got your Van Dijk, Alisson, Salas, but then you've also got your Harvey Elliott, who's developing quite well. You've got young Conor Bradley, who's definitely really good. Kanate's still young. You know, the left back situation's a bit done. Your things are, huh? You still got Robbo. Like, this is why Liverpool are where they are without needing to prove that needing to beat certain teams, because they've been there, done that, and that's just it's installed within the club. A bit like Man United and Chelsea back in the day in the squads. But if we talk about one man, right, McAllister, he's revolutionized that whole midfield as a whole, in my opinion, because there's one man that's always in that team that plays, whether it's a Curtis Jones in, or an Endo in, or Szoboszlai in, or Harvey Elliott in the middle. It's always that one person, right? McAllister.
Yeah,
that guy is
he?
ridiculous. See if they get that trigger at 50 million, 50 flipping million well spent, or 55. Who gives a crap?
I think it was 40 something, no?
Guy's wicked. The guy's wicked. Wicked. Like, honestly, the way he's developed, and it's probably credit to Jurgen Klopp as well, because I don't think Jurgen Klopp gets a lot of credit for the way, and his team gets for developing players. Of course, the criticism of last season. Sorry, Mons. Yeah, go on. What are you going to say?
No, I was just saying this because it was
crazy.
I reckon he would have been 70 plus. I reckon if it was up to Brighton to put a price tag on his head when we bought him, I reckon it would have cost us another 75 million.
Yeah. It's a bargain. That's what you call real bargains, man. I think you were speaking on it last night once with McAllister, right?
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's just like you probably can't spit enough praise. How many adjectives have we had to use for this guy this year?
Bro, like
He's good. He's good.
Like, I mean, he because obviously playing in the 6 role, he did struggle. I think we got always like, I'm always balanced about my players, innit? Like, I'm not gonna act like he's been stellar for the whole season. When he played 6 for the first half, for the first, I'd say 8, 9, 10 games of the season, he was finding it a bit difficult. A, because he's not a lone 6, so we kind of understood that as a fan base, and B, just because he was certain fundamentals weren't really working well. I think it was almost the other way around. Like, Szoboszlai started really well, and everyone was kind of stirring the 6. I don't know. It's kind of Klopp's fault, but he still shouldn't be losing the ball. He's good enough on the ball not to be losing the ball, especially when he knows he's playing in a position where he's the last line in the midfield. And then something just clicked, and he actually cooked in the 6. Endo started cooking, and now he's cooking in the 8 in this creative role. And he went from mac and cheese to Mac 10. You know what I'm saying? Like his peak. Man was starting to call him mac and cheese. I was thinking, I'm gonna have to find my brother. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. And bro, I nearly caved in it. You might know about my Thiago agenda, but yeah, as wrong as it is, I still emotionally attached. But we have our Thiago now, innit? Like, we have our Thiago. Like, realistically, but what he's on, he is very complete in terms of the way he's able to link play, his calmness on the ball, his final pass. We haven't really had someone with a really good final pass throughout the midfield and attack, like, who's consistently creatively good in a while. We always have workhorses in our midfield, and people who maybe like Curtis Jones more he can be creative, but he kind of resembles a Wijnaldum archetype. He's not like an Odegaard or anything like that. I'm not saying McAllister is Odegaard, but McAllister kind of has that. He has that. He has that X factor, that final pass to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, of course, Trent has that, but he's playing at right back inverted. We're talking about midfielders at Liverpool pad. We haven't had many. Thiago obviously not available enough to you know what I'm saying, to show that. So as often as he should, anyways. So listen, I agree. I think the way he's transformed this midfield, especially for me, in going in the 8. Since he's been in the 8 role, he's gone from good to wow, wow factor. And we have to keep him fit. We have to keep him fit. There's certain players, yes, I know Liverpool have coped with injuries, but he's one that we have to keep fit. I believe in that Brighton game, we don't win the game if it's not for McAllister. He's the one that just kept finding the spaces in between the back lines, through the lines, put Salah through about 15 times, but he wanted to have a banana foot. Like, honestly, I can't heap enough praise to this. If Liverpool win the league, this guy is signed in the season because of the price. Like, if Arsenal win the league, I still stick by it. Rice is signed in the season. I think so far Rice is still signed in the season.
Yeah,
But
no, he's definitely. But it depends who wins the league.
But if
He is.
Liverpool win the league, I believe McAllister's got a good shout. Or for me, in my opinion, should be signed in the season.
Whatever.
Rice is obviously signing the season at the moment because no one's even mentioning the price tag. But like McAllister has been unbelievable, and you got to give the props to Liverpool and how they managed to go about getting that deal done with a team like Brighton under the radar, cheap, like way below his market value. Now his market value's flying up. He obviously was never signed as a 6 either. I don't think. I think he was always going to be signed as someone that would be more advanced, but I don't know whether that was like a baptism of fire from Klopp to put him in a 6, toughen him up, see what he was about, and then like move him up into the 8 when he knew he could trust Endo to step in or someone else to come in and sit deeper than him. I feel like another signing that's just gone not under the radar as such because he started getting a bit of hype now, but Endo was such a smart signing in a season where you had to rebuild your midfield. Like, it was such a good signing because you were losing your leaders in Henderson, obviously Milner was departing, a couple of others. And exactly right. And he's gone, let me go and get a winner. Let me go and get a leader. We're talking about the Japan captain, a guy who's 31, who's a stalwart throughout the Bundesliga for a few years. He's a perfect addition to your team. And I think he's allowing the likes of Curtis Jones and McAllister to sort of find a bit of familiarity. And I think he's kind of just been an essential part, but almost in the background. And then I think McAllister's obviously just going from strength to strength. And it's funny how it works, right? You said about Szoboszlai starting on fire, but sometimes it takes the better player just a little bit of time to make sure they're doing all the right things, and then they stay consistent.
Yeah, no, 100%. Even Endo for me, I think up until November, I think a lot of the midfielders were like 50-50. I think the only
they're all brand new, right, Mons, as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes time. Like, I think because Liverpool, with Liverpool fans, and I think just in general, sometimes you really want to see things click straight away. And maybe when you're in November and it's like maybe like match day 10 or whatever, you're thinking, it's been 10 games. Like, are we going to see something? I'll be honest. Endo, up until that Palace game, I wasn't sure.
ENDO.
Bro,
Through your window.
See against Palace when he got hooked at half time, he Endo got a taste of what it's like to go South London, innit? Hughes and that rushed him up in midfield. Klopp gone, half time. And at this point, I was thinking, is this my DM? Is this my DM? You know what I'm saying? And then after that, he just, again, something just clicked in it. Something just clicked.
Sometimes it takes that. You have to make that initial mistake, or you have to learn. Like, that's where I think the Premier League is such a different caliber compared to your other leagues, where like you can go to a lower level Bundesliga team and sort of cruise. And I think Endo probably thought, being in a better team, I can go to Palace and I can cruise through this game. I can get loads of touches on the ball. I'll have time. And then they realise that it's just, you're going to come up against Hughes, like workhorses that are going to smother you and make it difficult. And sometimes it takes that little education for 45 minutes to go, wow, this is why the Premier League's the Premier League. I seriously need to go and change what I'm doing and what I expect from these games against the lower level teams in the league and step up. He's done that, and he's not looked back since. He's been great.
Yeah, no, I can't lie. Look, if someone had told me was signing the season 35 million or 105 million, I'm always going to go for the cheaper option as well. But it depends who wins the league, because I think Declan Rice has been as instrumental or monumental, you could say, to Arsenal's midfield as McAllister has to Liverpool's midfield. So it's the same kind of thing as well, man. But
the only thing is, though, Cass, is that Rice has come into a team that's kind of ready-made. Liverpool ripped up the whole midfield.
But Liverpool, in credit to Liverpool, they got something a little bit different that Arsenal don't have, which is actual winners, in all different areas of the pitch.
Yeah,
there's Trem, obviously, blah blah. Allison, I think that's the difference. So I think, no one saw it. No one saw Liverpool finishing that this high. No one, not a single soul. Only the shameless bunch that probably put like that.
Actually, I think I said second on my prediction. I'm not going to lie. I said if they get their midfield right and Van Dijk returns to what we knew him as, they're onto something. And the midfield, they've got it right. You know, you have to give credit. This is how you rebuild a team. You don't rip it all out at once. You rip out the section that's like the oldest and needing it most importantly, right? And they rip it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just Liverpool should have been refreshing over the years, not in bulk. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I'm saying. A big up Solomon.
Now they
man.
squeezed the orange till they got the last drop out of Liverpool out of that midfield.
Big up Solomon.
And then he went, we'll buy a new orange.
Yeah, big up Solomon.
Do you know what I mean?
Says big up the panel. Where's Monster Fraud? Monster's sleeping, and he had 2 hours more sleep than me, by the way.
No,
guys got low iron deficiencies, man.
Bro, yeah, I was moving anemic. I'm what? Like, allow me.
I was like, once I didn't get to bed till 20 to 7, bro, because I had to do all this.
Bro, no, we're not doing that because you actually got some sleep before we spoke in the morning.
What do you mean?
Bro.
What do you mean? What
the night before, I had 2 hours sleep.
I had 3 hours sleep.
5 hours sleep in 2 days.
That's
right, guys. That's the YouTube grind I wrote. That's the YouTube grind I put in for you lot. I've had 5 hours sleep in 2 days. In 2 days.
No, what you mean? You went to bed at like 4:30, yeah, and you woke up at 12. You had enough. You had about nearly 8 hours today, so don't do that.
Yeah, bro. And the Prem's back today.
Oh, here we go.
The Prem's back today, so I didn't even get a break.
This guy is ain't not even Mr. Link. Your name's Mr. Prick. Cass, remind me of your predictions of this season. I had Man United finishing second, yeah. But I thought we were really going to kick on from last year because I thought we was going to go play. I thought we were going to go get a centre back. You know, I thought we was going to go get a couple things. Also, City didn't have none of their signings that came through at that point. I thought, I'm going to do early predictions as we always do. And then, it was
because I remember because you said when I said to you, Carabao Cup, you go, but we're going to push on from that. So what you think is just
but most fans would think if you're a fan of your own club and you're finishing as you did and whatever, and getting a bit of refreshment of player before you even get other players, mate. Every fan is going to think that their club's going to kick on after. No one thinks my club's going to retract. No one even thought about Man United.
I did.
Nah, what?
No,
United,
as a Man United fan. It's the hope, mate. It's the hope.
Guys, let's be honest. Like, I do find it personally. I just find it a bit cheeky that when I said Liverpool going to finish above United, you laughed at me. You didn't even tell me no. You don't. You didn't even disagree. You just laughed at me. There was no words.
You know what's funny about this guy? Yeah, when I first met him as well, and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. But the journey. It's like at the start of the season of last year, this guy was talking mad. Yeah, as Liverpool fans typically do. The change of tune in Mons, Roms, Jerry James, the Klopp hours, like what's it called? Jamie Phillips, the Copper slot. It was beautiful. Honestly, and it's the cheek, and it was the hope that killed. Anyways, we move other than tribalism. But yeah, man. When we talk about the last part, there's a big game on tonight. It's a derby, in my opinion, whether it's London derby or over that side of the world of London. West Ham versus Tottenham. Jay's getting his speech ready and whatnot. Now, when I tell you today, people listen to me. Yeah. The narrative on Big Six Bands is a mad thing, yeah. They try to send for me, yeah. When I said, come Thursday, run it up, yeah, because the narrative, Friday, to be fair, it will change. Spurs are going to drop points. Man United are going to beat Chelsea. And then all of a sudden, we're having another conversation again. And it only lasted 4 days because that is football. Anyways, Jay, you might disagree, but I'm not going to deny it. West Ham's defeat against Newcastle tells me that they're going to have to be absolutely buzzing at their own ground for this one. So it makes the incentive is even more. Let me. Anyways, take it away with your dusty club.
West Ham. Listen, bro. I feel like I come here every week and you're always like, next week, Man United are going to do so. It's like, in those cartoons. Like when it's like Scooby-Doo. I would have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe that United give me this season. I thought you were going to get away with it versus Brentford. Thankfully, you didn't, because that would have been an abomination.
A bit like how you just got away with Luton, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, obviously, you can't compare the quality of performance that Tottenham give and United give. It's like apples and oranges, or whatever fruit that you guys are masquerading as. So for Spurs, big game. I think we can win. West Ham are obviously they're good at home. They've been in good form. But like I said, these games are just about seeing what the gap is between us and the top sides. And, people can say Spurs have done this or been lucky or that, but Spurs have had some stinking results too. You know, they like the last minute draw with Everton, losing at home to Wolves, obviously getting spanked by Fulham. Had Spurs just tightened up in those games, they'd be right there. So obviously Spurs need to improve in positions, improve the depth. But these games are just a good indication of, you know, like if Van der Ven's fit, you know, bring me Tottenham's first team, and I'm not scared of anybody. Like if our first team is playing, I expect us to get a result anywhere against any team. Like no ifs, buts, or coconuts.
You've got one thing until they get hooked off in the 65th minute. Like 2 out of 3 are midfielders, or if not all of them. That one.
Hey, listen, but the thing is obviously, and I don't want to be like, oh, we rely on one player, but Van der Ven missed the Fulham game. He missed the Luton game. I'm saying I'm not saying that we should be as reliant on him, but he'll be fit for tonight. He should be back in the team. I haven't seen anybody really beat us this season with our first team available. You know, Chelsea came the closest, I think, but they, you know, it's asterisked that victory.
I think we
closest. It was a win.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. And I'm happy with how the season's gone. Like Kaz says, I think it's about upward trajectory. The thing about Arsenal, people always talk about Arsenal, but the thing is they finished 8th.
Wait. One sec. Talk about my club on loan nicely, yeah? Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So people will say 8th, 5th. Yeah. So what's this Ross saying? Spurs were drawing at Villa and only Woman Van der Ven came off. Yeah. Okay, but how does that? Obviously, Villa were asked that day. How does that change the other way? Anyway, so when I'm looking at it, like Arsenal were 8th, 5th, 2nd. So had Arsenal gone 8th, 5th, 8th, yeah, the fans might not have been as forgiving. Not that the fans were forgiving at all. Do you know what I mean? So upward mobility and upward trajectory has to be consistent. So, you know, I'm expecting and Sean is Sean a Liverpool fan? Because Liverpool versus 10 men, they had us on the ropes a little bit. That was a bit peak that game. That was a bit peak that game.
What do you think, Dan, anyways, about Tottenham in general against this West Ham side? Like, I think they forget that
Wolves. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Wolves.
They got Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta. You know, now because they got Antonio back, who's just becoming more sharp. I would say, yeah, he was actually have a decent game against Newcastle. He was bullying, but and whatnot. I don't think you can really knock a side like this. Even Alvarez, I think he's back properly. Like he wasn't meant to be. I think he took him off early for Calvin Phillips. No Calvin Phillips today, Jay. Yeah, so
that means they got a chance. No Calvin Phillips means West Ham have a chance, to be fair, because arguably they've been a better side without him in the team than with him in. Yeah. I think they've got a really good side. Moyes has definitely put something together there that's working. I don't know how long he'll be there.
Don't you think if they ever, like, this quick one, don't you think if West Ham had some sort of proper caliber manager somehow, somewhere, that they would be even better with this squad? Because that squad
right now with this team,
no, they do
better. They do better. They do better. Come on, they've got a good side.
I'll be real. I think if you overcomplicate the style of play for them, and I'm not saying they don't have the players. I think going forward they have the players, but they've got too many fuck ups in their team. Like Kufal, no one's gonna say Kufal's a bad player, but no one's gonna say he's a great player.
But the thing is, attacking wise, Kufal's actually really good.
Yeah, but bro, there's a brain fart throughout their whole back six. Maybe apart from Alvarez, who plays in DM. Alvarez, maybe.
I haven't really seen Ward-Prowse going. We ain't really seen Ward-Prowse lately.
You're on mute, Jay. You're on mute.
I think it's just work.
Someone who just made the point about Moyes with the overcomplication, because it's like sometimes it is as simple as that. Like but to be fair, I think the next person who West Ham will benefit from the foundation that Moyes has.
100%.
So like if they get a really forward-thinking, progressive manager, they're going to get 1 year of absolute sweet spot with the defensive basis of Moyes that's entrenched in the player's brain, and then they add the attacking patterns. So if they change manager next year, I expect them to actually have a very, very good season before dropping off the following season, because that's the trend that I've seen with Moyes type sides.
And also losing their players, because I think after the one season, if they do have a good season, they're going to lose a few of them. And also,
they're losing this summer, I think.
Yeah, the reason these players, the team is doing well as well, because the key is actually Paqueta, in my opinion.
Wait,
Paqueta,
Nah, kudos.
obviously Kudus and Bowen are so good, but when Paqueta got injured, I'm pretty sure they didn't win a single game.
Yeah, they
won a single game. And the thing is that we all know tactically Moyes isn't, you know what I'm saying, not deserving, is he? Like, doesn't exactly, you know what I'm saying, doesn't exactly, he's not the wild factor, pre-football and whatnot. But because they have Paqueta, that is the creativity. That is the system. That is the creativity in the system, innit, in my opinion. And I feel like, if you're right, if a manager that does come in and can play ball and they still have the likes of Paqueta, Bowen and Kudus and whatnot.
Paqueta's gone. Paqueta's gone. He's definitely gone.
I think he's too good. He's too
he's Man City. I think Pep's flirting with this man too. Like, it's just, it is what it is, man. They need that sort of player. They need an attacking minded type 8 that can crash the box and spot out pass. It's true, man. Only benefit.
I just think they don't have a creative style. I just think Paqueta is
they got creative inshallah, They got creative inshallah going on for them going forward.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, look, watch. I don't know what you lot used to watch games. Watch any of the games about Paqueta. West Ham was, even when Bowen was fit. But did you not notice the Bowen's goal drought came when Paqueta was injured, and then when Paqueta came back, he scores a hat trick. Like, you know what I'm saying? He bags a hattie in one half.
Yeah, no, it's just true. No, it's crazy that we're giving West Ham this highlight time, but it's true that's why I say that their squad's good, man. I think they've got a good squad.
I
don't think David Moyes ain't gonna go. If they go far in Europa, let's say they beat Leverkusen, they're gonna be favourites to get to the final. By the way, I'd say so. Or at least they'll probably crack on, and then in the league, if they finish off like 6th, 7th, I don't think that's gonna be known as a bad campaign. I don't think Moyes gets sacked because you can't sack him. You can't be a West Ham fan and moan that you're finishing 7th. You've had a mad injury to your striker. Clear as day, they need a striker other than Antonio and whatnot. Paqueta getting injured and stuff. Mate, maybe a bit harsh on David Moyes.
Yeah, bro, I think if you look at West Ham as well, like they actually recruited a striker, but it didn't really work out in Scamacca. And they went for it, didn't they? They went for a young, talented striker as well. Imagine if they got that right. We'd be looking at West Ham being on par with Villa. It
was just not much of a. They said he was not. Antonio said he was not much of a bully.
Listen. But guys, think about Tony. Think about Tony to West Ham. Is there a signing that makes more sense than that?
I can't lie.
Tony ain't going West Ham. Come on,
Jay. I can't. You can't float with Liverpool, Arsenal, as he did, and then talk about Real Madrid and light and all that stuff, just to end up at West Ham. You're gonna get absolutely bantered, bro.
Tony is clearly a shameless man. I don't think that's going to be an issue for him to do that, because
but Tony's got bigger goals than West Ham, Jay.
But the thing is like I might have bigger aspirations for me as well, but life is life. Do you know what I mean?
Tony can achieve them. Tony can achieve those.
Can he? Okay, because look at it like this. Okay, where's he going to go then? If he doesn't go West Ham, where's he going?
Well, Fabrizio Romano said Man United's eyeing him up.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, all before West Ham.
I don't think Arsenal would take him.
And Spurs. I'd even say Spurs.
I don't think Spurs would take him.
Also, Jay, you got to think of one thing. As much as we don't like Tony I like Tony. In terms of maybe clubs not really fancying his ego or whatever it may be, you look at number 9s out there, sometimes you have to be like, we need a guy like this. I'm not being funny. I'm not going to pass that up.
Tony would go Saudi Arabia before he goes West Ham, Jay.
No, but the thing is, I hear what you're saying, but I look at it like Arteta and Ange are very big personality people. Yeah, they're very, very big on your mindset. I don't think he's bad
though, but he might need a club like.
I mean, he said fuck Brentford more times than I can.
But he just got caught on camera, bro. Like that's it. Over the years, I guarantee a lot of players said, "Fuck Tottenham, man." Like,
there's never a player like if any of my players ever said "fuck Tottenham" on camera. Are you mad? Are you insane?
Someone recorded.
You don't think Harry Kane said that in the summer?
Probably.
In light fame, yeah. Someone recorded him without his consent for one, post it online, and I'm pretty sure there's loads of Look, people don't highlight what Michael Lee said.
Take him at United. He's got a personality that will join the rest of your personalities.
The difference is like you need people that got ego as well at your club. If you don't develop ego at a club and you can't have a club that can manage,
you end up like Chelsea.
You end up like Tottenham. You end up like Tottenham. That's what happened.
Fair Fair enough, Cass. But the thing is like I look at Arsenal and I don't see a huge amount of egos. I don't see a huge amount of egos at City. So it can be controlled.
What?
You could have
What?
What?
No, bro,
Big
listen,
egos
bro,
at both
listen,
clubs.
listen,
Big
ego.
egos
listen,
at
there's a
both
difference.
clubs.
No, hold on. Let me be clear. There's a difference between a career ego and an ego. So someone like Kyle Walker has a career ego. Yeah, I want to achieve the best that I can achieve in my career, things like that. Ivan Toney has an ego.
No,
he might
Kyle
also
Walker has an ego, though. Come on.
Bro, he might also have a career ego, but
Do you
it's
mean
clear the
arrogant?
guy has an ego.
You think he's
I don't see
arrogant?
how you can't see that.
You think he's arrogant, basically?
I don't think he's arrogant. I just think he has an ego, and I think that at certain clubs that's more
can't lie,
acceptable
Jay.
than other clubs.
I think of it like this, yeah. Before we wrap up, even chime in as well if you want once. Maybe he's just had enough of being at a club where he knows he's limited for his abilities.
Yeah.
That's why he said fuck Brentford.
When he gets to a big club, yeah, he might crack down and be like, "I'm at a big club, like I'm actually here, like I'm landed,"
Yeah.
and that might tone down his ego. Because good luck trying to have an ego at a big club all of a sudden. It's not gonna happen.
And that's fair enough. I'm not trying to say that he's not justified in having a career ego. He is good enough to play at a much higher level and take the reap the rewards of that from a contractual playing with better players point of view. No doubt about that whatsoever. But he also does have a bit of an ego.
Yeah, but that's I don't know. I'm just gonna wrap up on my part. I just think it's fine. I actually like Tony. I don't mind the way he talks. I think you know what? Actually, you know what? People in the UK, I think UK you're all sensitive and a bit passive to people having egos and arrogance. I think UK people are a bunch of pussies when it comes to that because I like it when people come out and start stating stuff because Americans do it all the time and we love it. But when it comes to us,
until he ruins your dressing room, Cass. Until he ruins your dressing room, and we have this conversation afterwards.
Professional. No, it's the difference if you're messing up a dressing room. It filters down from Saturday to Sunday. People don't want to talk to the best player on a Sunday, even if they do crap. But once you
like, for example, do you think Bruno's got an ego, Cass?
Of course he does.
Okay, so for example,
how dare he have an ego the way he does? But to be fair, Man United have sourced that and allowed that because we're so shit, and he's clearly one of the better talented players. But he doesn't realize. Look in the mirror. You're just as shit.
Yeah, but when he wasn't shit, you don't weren't complaining about it.
When
Bruno was only decent in COVID time.
When it was 50 GA, man.
No, to be fair, there was criticisms about the way he gave away the ball. But the thing is, as much as we thought Bruno's failed Man United as a type of player is, we've also failed him and not to build around the type of player he was and give him something that he needed. Pogba and him was too far in between because he was injured, but we never gave him a defensive ability kind of type guy or wingers that can hold the ball.
You signed Casemiro 2 seasons too late.
I'll be fair to you, Kaz. I'll be really fair to you. Now I've been thinking, Maddison. I think Tony has a somewhat similar personality to Maddison to an extent. Like, do you know what I mean? I think he's in that sphere. So you might
had
be right
egos before they've achieved anything.
That's what I'm saying. Like Maddison had an ego at Norwich. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not disagreeing with that point, and it can get toned down as you go to a bigger club. And so, yeah, you know, why don't United sign him and we'll try it out?
I will take him. And when
United should take Tony in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and Jay, when you lot go sign the brother from Feyenoord up front, what's his name again? Begins with a G. Jimenez, and he flops because he's too slow or he just can't finish or get involved. You're all going to say, why didn't we
don't have an ego? Because all the best strikers have an ego.
They will be here on a Tuesday saying, why did we sign Tony?
Okay, first of all, that's an egregious use of my accent.
We're much better than United. Like, weird, innit? That's what you say. But big up. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up there. Guys, we're going to be back later. You might see it in a couple days in a row. It'll be me, Josh, and Deji for the mid battle for the top European spots. But so that should go off. We're also joined by Monster Nagal tonight, so about 11. So that's just going to be chaos in itself. Just add a gal, fuel to the fire, and probably Deji shaking his bum violently. But other than that, smash the like on the way out, and also check out these boys' channels in the description. Even CB who had internet problems. It's also in the pin, so you can check them out. Dan is a Chelsea fan. If you want to hear a level-headed Chelsea fan, if you liked it, and you're listening back, go and subscribe to him as well. I'm pretty sure he'll be on it.
And you're a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh, sorry, bro.
Didn't notice. Did you not see that?
I appreciate the sympathy, Mons.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Sorry, man. He's one of the good ones, bro. The way you were speaking, I thought, yo. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, bro. He speaks well, bro. It's just...
Well, we all know Dan was in this crowd when this was recorded.